Hi there guys, this is Barney. I'm just gonna kind of give you tips and inside info on a successful Faceless Void game that I played recently. The reason for this is that if I had to put the hero Faceless Void kind of on a difficulty scale of 1 to 10, he'd probably sit in terms of technicality and successfulness in a team game at about a 6 or 7. So it is, for me, the information that I'm going to share in this video would have been stuff that I would have liked to have heard starting out in my Dota career. And so I'm just going to point out clever techniques on successfully laning the guy and how to be effective in the team fight. The interesting thing that I identified immediately in this game and spoke to the guys about who I was playing with was the fact that we had a interesting combination of heroes, being a single draft game where the guys wanted me to either jungle or offlane Faceless, and at first I considered it, but there was too many factors, one of which is the fact that I felt we needed a melee and range hero in top and bottom lane for it to be successful. And I feel that that's a principle that, you know, we can apply to all our Dota games, where to have a strong lane regardless of the hero, a basic principle to follow is to have a combination of a melee and range hero, or either a double range hero, but never double melee, because very easily those two heroes can be outlaned and outfarmed unless you're very good at your game and you can play Dota at a very high level, and even then it's a struggle. So I don't see a point in making your life difficult
30 seconds to
and
battle.
putting yourself in a position like that. So I put this to the guys and they agreed. So we ended up mixing the lanes up so that I ended up playing Faceless Void mid, which is uncommon. It's not unheard of, but it is uncommon, and it worked out for us in the end, purely because I played him to his strengths and not his weaknesses. You'll see as we get into it, I was mid lane with Faceless Void. Top lane was Tidehunter, Vengeful Spirit. Bottom lane, Sniper, Anti-Mage. And then on the other side, we had a Clinks against me. Top lane, we had a Necrophus. We had with him Wraith King, or commonly known as Skeleton King. And then we had a Brood and a Batrider in the bot lane. I'm just going to highlight Faceless Void specifically in this scenario with the mid lane. What's interesting thing, as I was just commenting on how I try and pair up a range and a melee for the fact that then you can't be outlaned easily in terms of a range sense, is the very thing that I try to avoid is happening here mid. So, what do we do about it? Well, you play Faceless Void to his strengths, which means the first thing I leveled was Time Walk, which is then it's that evasive aspect that you need in case you get ganked, or in case Clinks is harassing you and about to kill you. You have that quick evasive ability. After I'd leveled Time Walk, I immediately went for the next two of his skills, Backtrack and Time Lock, specifically for the fact that for that odd harass, which is what we're seeing now, there's a chance that the Backtrack would give me a dodge and I won't take that damage. Time Lock was merely for an aggressive situation in case I wanted to harass him back. I might potentially land 2 strikes instead of 1. But those were my attempt at landing him successfully against a melee hero on his own with no other support. The idea was me midding him meant that I could get my levels quickly, ultimately getting Chronosphere quickly and getting my items. And then what I try and work towards immediately on Faceless Void, as most players do, is a Mask of Madness. It's pretty critical on this guy because the pros you gain out of it versus the cons work very well for this hero and his ultimate, the Chronosphere, with the bonus movement speed in the sphere and the attack speed that the Mask of Madness gives you. It's pretty much A for away in terms of farming heroes once you get those items that you need. Yeah, so we pretty much battle it out, Klinks, I wouldn't say is very successful at what he's busy doing. He should be harassing me a whole lot more, making my life a whole lot more difficult. That's what I expected, which is why I went for quite a lot of healing. And he didn't give me that, which means I had a difficult lane. He was harassing me a little bit, but it wasn't nearly what it could have potentially been, and he allowed me that opportunity to farm and get the levels that I needed to be effective in the fights. If we have a look at bottom, the Batrider is a typical offlaner character, very good initiator, but as it is again, with the time, with the Chronosphere and Faceless Void's late game effectiveness, you know, none of the heroes can really combat that. These guys were immediately on the ball with harassing the heroes, keeping them low health, which kind of gave them the advantage in terms of getting first blood, or if there was a potential gank situation, none of these heroes could potentially go on them because they kept them low health. Top lane, classical laning combination. I felt that, you know, had there been a double melee, Tidehunter would have potentially been shut down completely. See, here's a situation mid lane where that Time Walk gave me the advantage that I needed to get away from a potential death situation there, where Klinks was going on me for first blood. So yeah, basically, overall with this guy, with Faceless Void specifically, things to kind of get right will be farming. If you can't farm successfully, if you can't get those last hits and denies, and you can't get the gold per minute, you shouldn't play this hero. He is very item dependent as well as very, very level dependent, because I would class him almost as a very late mid-game, late-game hero. So he's very effective once he has his Chronosphere. However, you need the items and the damage to potentially kill the heroes in the Chronosphere. You can't... what a lot of people make the mistake of is they don't farm him effectively. He's a very low level, and they think that once they drop a Chronosphere, the people inside are just going to die. It doesn't work like that. He needs his items, he needs his levels. If you can get that right with this hero, his effectiveness is almost uncomparative to any other hero in the game. But he needs the farm, he needs the items. I can't emphasize that fact more. So when you decide to play Faceless Void, bear all of those things in mind. People who are tournament-wise successful with this guy are the guys who can jungle very effectively. If you can get that right, A for away. Because then at least you give the opportunity of a solo mid lane to another carry who can potentially carry the game for you as well. If not, you're probably going to sit yourself in the position of an off-lane solo lane with another kind of semi-carry support hero jungling, someone like Enchantress, for the additional odd support in case you get in a bad situation. But I need to emphasize the fact that he is very, very item dependent and very level dependent. So you need to get those last hits. You need to get the gold. Let's just have a look at the net worth over here. If you have a look at now, purely because I did the mid lane and I kind of held my own without dying, his net worth is very much up there. I mean, look, Klinks is tops, yes, but we got to bear in mind that he's a ranged hero, and it's very difficult for a melee to compete aggressively against an effective range hero in a solo situation. So I think in terms of the farming, I'm doing pretty well. If I have a look here at bottom, there's a bit of a gank coming up here. Anti-Mage is just very lucky. No opportunity there. Very, very lucky. There, I was just commenting on missing. That's another big thing. You guys don't often, people don't realize how important it is to call missing in a situation where a hero tries to go for a gank to get that first blood. If you call it, you could potentially save that first blood situation. I think Sniper gets first blood here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. Okay, maybe it's at a later stage. However, yeah, so I didn't make an effort to gank. I was level 7, same level as Klinks. However, I feel that Faceless Void only comes into his own sort of in the region of 8, 9, maybe even level 10, only once you've completed your Mask of Madness. It doesn't help you drop a Chronosphere if you don't have the damage, or the damage per second specifically, with the attack speed, to take out a hero, at least one hero, when you land your ultimate. So those are things to bear in mind. I think I just want to highlight bottom here. There's definitely a first blood coming up, where Sniper gets first blood and top lane falls apart. See here again, Clinks is going to go top with haste. There Sniper gets the first blood.
What a dum-dum!
Let's have a look. Here he goes on Tidehunter, takes him out.
My life.
And then Venge, unfortunately, takes him out as well. But I wasn't really concerned about that, to be honest. I kind of felt that as long as we were trading kills, not necessarily giving away free kills, I could continue to lane, continue to farm, and continue to try get that Mask of Madness that I'm desperately going for here. Once I've got that, I know with this particular hero, you can feel confident to kind of go out and start killing heroes on your own. But without that, I think you need to seriously stay in lane, don't lose the experience, don't wander and wait for opportunities. It's not a pudge situation where the moment you get your ultimate, you need to immediately go and see what it is you can do in terms of an opportunity to try grab a potential hero kill. I just want to fast forward a little bit here. I just want to see what happens. They're kind of pushing off lanes. Let's have a look here. See, staying in lane, literally, I mean, I'm level 8. Almost have my full Mask of Madness. Sniper's kind of just farming away as he should. And yeah. Also, the big mistake on our part this game was warding. We didn't ward enough. We should have warded way more. This is obviously a counter to Broodmother, but more warding would have been something to have improved on. Map awareness comes as a result of that. And as you can see, a 10-minute Mask of Madness.
Invisibility.
This is really where Faceless Void comes into his own. If you put that into perspective, I mean, you can immediately see I was trying to look for an opportunity to potentially get a kill. And then I just continue to farm. Yeah, and then bot, obviously there's a potential gank situation with them trying to go on anti-mage here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And then I immediately... What's about to happen is a bit overkill, but I thought, you know, there was a potential in the moment that he might get away. And then I just want to put forward the fact that, yes, most would say that that ultimate was a waste. I mean, looking back on it, I would say the same. However, I want to make the point of, I get the impression a lot of guys feel your ultimate ability is one to save for the critical moments in the game. For a few ultimates that is the case, but for the most you can't say that, because you never know when an opportunity is going to arise, and you never know when an opportunity might fall apart. So using it as much and as often as possible in a clever way is by far the best way to treat the situation. Yeah, I immediately just tried to get a gank. So yeah, I'm pushing way too hard without my ultimates. But we had the team, we had the presence, which is where the success of that gank was. Now the big thing is, I know in a lane situation like this, you can wait for days and nothing's going to happen. So you've got to farm. You've got to get those items. And just by chance I came across a hero here. And with the Mask of Madness, I finished him off. So,
You lose face.
I mean, here's a Clinks. Then, obviously, because I had the team, He was lucky there getting away after we had planted an invis ward. But the team definitely saved me there. And then yeah, you just got to keep up the farm, keep up the leveling. And with this particular hero, you just need to constantly be above net worth wise, GPM wise, and experience wise per minute. Then every other hero in the game, you have to keep his effectiveness. You just got to keep farming. But never ever be that hero that just farms the whole game away, and then come late game, and you all farmed and ready to fight, but the team's fallen apart because you've had no presence in the team fights. Never be that hero. You must always be opportunistic of moments when it's critical that you are present in the fight and participate in those fights. Don't throw the game away for your team because you aren't interested in being a part of the team fight because you just want to farm. That's not why there are 5 players in a game of Dota.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So there was just a gang situation. I'd maybe like to cover that. Where I think I went in, voided. Now purely because of Mask of Madness, I got a kill and you get out. Without that Mask of Madness, chances are you're not going to get that kill, because your damage per second isn't that high early game. So you need to go on those opportunities and then walk away. Don't overextend, because you need to keep your net worth high, which means dying isn't an option, especially with this hero. You can't be overly aggressive with this guy, you've got to be opportunistic. And that's the success with this guy. I think in this situation, he doesn't know that there's a ward here. And I'm wondering whether I can capitalize on it. And anti-mage is just like, I don't have enough health to participate in this. But, yeah. So yeah, spam your spells, use them. Really, it's not a question of you know, when's the best time or whatever. The moment you feel you can get a kill or participate in any kind of a fight, make use of the spell. Don't abandon that aspect just because you're worried that so yeah, it's just an overall a good team fight.
No such thing as a free
Yeah,
ride.
very good team support, very good initiates, nice swap on Vengeful Spirit spot, and then obviously Sniper's getting some good
Dire's
form.
top tower is under attack.
Yeah, I think I went on Clinks, just got the kill, and it's only again because of Mask of Madness.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
You make a great bullet catcher.
And then another thing I want to emphasize, this whole business of kill stealing, I mean, it often happens, yes, but rather get the kill than fight over it and the guy potentially gets away. That's another thing to bear in mind. It is a team game. So you kind of just have to accept that sometimes you're going to be in a situation where you might find yourself getting a kill stolen from you. That's not the end of the world.
Say goodbye to your head.
Anyway, back to Faceless Void again. Even with my success, you keep your farm up. Keep the successful farm going. You literally just need to, at this level with the lifesteal, you just need to farm up. So that when there is that team fight that arises, you need to be as effective as possible, potentially taking out 2, even 3 heroes in that team fight.
Radiant structures are
So that you know you're as effective as you possibly potentially can be. That's a big thing in this game, is with Faceless Void. Because once he's Chronosphered, it's very difficult for you to be assisted by anyone in the Chronosphere, unless it's the likes of Leech, where you can Chronosphere and Leech can throw his ice ball into your Chronosphere and potentially help you in a fight like that, or other kind of heroes who can assist. Otherwise you're stuck. You're alone in that ball. There's no one who can really be of assistance to you. It's not really, you couldn't really class it as a stun or an immobilize. It's kind of unique to itself, which is an interesting aspect you need to bear in mind. And yeah, just farm up after every kill. Immediately, you don't wait in lane or see how effective you can be in lane. You immediately either farm in lane or you go into the neutral camps and you farm the neutral camps. There should never be a period in your game where you're doing nothing. And this, basically, look, to a degree, you can tweak this kind of approach to all carries, hard carries, who are very farm dependent. But why I'm emphasizing this specifically on Faceless Void is that he needs to be a strong entity on his own. He needs to be as effective as he possibly can be on his own. Then, as you can see, I'm going for damage. Getting my Crystallis. With the Crystallis, I'm trying to get as much damage per second as possible. Possibly going for that crit, which is very important in comparison to the attack speed that I'm getting with the Mask of Madness. So the more times I'm hitting the person, the more likely the chances I'm going to get a critical strike on them and do the damage that I want to deal to them. So here I'm getting very brave, as I normally do. An arrogant approach is to just be like Stufford and farm 20 minutes in, farm their neutral camp. As you can see, they think they're going to get a kill on me, and I immediately, with Mask of Madness, take a player out.
Unstoppable.
And the only reason you can do that, is because he's such an effective carry when he is farmed. I mean, I'm not even having Mask here, and the effectiveness of this hero is incredible. The crit is really effective on this guy. You can't even begin to understand how effective the critical damage is on this Oak because of the DPS that he has. Not so much damage per second, but his attack speed with Mask of Madness is very effective when combined with the critical strike. So it's very effective on this hero to make use of critical damage with the Mask of Madness for the attack speed and that Chronosphere. You can take out 1, 2, maybe even 3 late game if you're effective with that combination. And then farm. Don't ever stop. Never stop farming. Constantly spam the farm. You need to get as much of a net worth gathered as possible to be as effective as you possibly can in the game. In this particular situation, with Sniper being on my side, what's nice is because of his range, he can kind of pick off heroes within my Chronosphere, which is a nice help. But still, there will be situations where he can't participate in those team fights when I land my ultimate. So you have to bear that in mind, almost as a carry, that you are alone. You are alone in that regard. When you there, I use the advantage of the Chronosphere revealing invisible units. I had an idea that he was there. I'll cover that one again, just so we can see. Yeah, I am mid lane. I'm not sure exactly, I can't tell you why I decided to come bot. Maybe it's because there was a little bit of action. But, Anti-Mage, I think, was ganked by Clinks. Killed. I knew he was running ahead, anticipated it, and landed the... So yeah, had he gone invis, still would have got him. And that's the other cool aspect about Faceless Void's ultimate. Then yeah, I don't know if I covered it earlier, but I'm pretty sure most of the guys are aware. The interesting thing about the Chronosphere is that when he's inside it, his movement speed is just incredible. So you really can capitalize on potentially killing 2, 3, as I said, targets within the Chronosphere because you have the movement speed. But the big thing is you can only do that if you have the damage. So this guy really needs damage items. I wouldn't quite call it tanky items because he has the backtrack, which kind of gives him that dodge or evasion. So you really want to go pure damage on the circuit. You need the attack speed early on and you want pure damage. And then yeah, I mean, I literally just
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I farmed it up. Let's just get this back to normal speed here. Maybe we can do a player perspective. Yeah, and then as you can see here, I'm coming in on Brood. Ultimate's ready. Play it safe, throw the ultimate. And that's because I know she could potentially cast a web and get away from it. So, you don't let that happen. And that's a situation, again, I want to emphasize to you guys where don't think your ultimate's only usable in an extreme situation. Your ultimate is there to assist you in being effective in game. Yeah, I just completed Daedalus. So now my crit is just really through the roof. Critical chance combined with the time lock is really a deadly combination with this particular hero. And yeah, I think my one maybe criticism with it being mid-game at the moment about this guy is that let's do this so I can follow him. Is that his mana, despite the fact that we're 25 minutes in and I'm very farmed. I mean, if you look at my net worth, it's very high in comparison to the rest of the players in the game. I mean, don't hate. I get the fact that I'm going pure damage, but I maybe would think a rethink regarding potentially increasing the size of his mana pool. It would be nice to throw a few ultis before your mana's out, because the cooldown time on your ultimate is only 60. Well, with Scepter, is 60 seconds.
Double damage.
And that's quick. I mean, you can potentially throw a few of those before, if you had a decent mana pool before your mana pool runs out. But now you're kind of limited. That's what you call a proper kill still. Capitalizing on the fact that no one else can do anything in the Chronosphere. I thought I'd take advantage there. But yeah, that would be my one kind of, what would you call it, downside to the way I played Faceless Void now, would be the fact that I didn't have a very big mana pool. But nevertheless, you're kind of opportunistic about your time locks. You see here now, yeah, I've got myself stuck in a bit of a position, but with the good team support and the fact that I had double Ds for the first part of that fight, I came out of it luckily. I mean, in that situation, had I been alone, I probably would have died. But the main reason was
I thank you.
potentially being able to spam my Chronosphere more with either a Scepter and a bigger mana pool might have saved me if I was alone in a situation like that, and I'd recently thrown down my Chronosphere. But yeah, I mean, if we just look at mid, let's put us back onto free camera. The team does well when your carry is very effective in fights. I mean, obviously we had a very good damage. You can see snipers going for damage as well. Anti-mage is a very, very, very late game hero. And then we had that very good initiate of Tide Hunter, which helped us a lot in the team fights. But to my mind, just overall very successful game. Everyone seems to play their role successfully. But I just wanted to cover, here's a situation where you can potentially kill a few heroes in a game. I mean, that crit is incredible. There, I think I died, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to see something. It's my first death of the game, which isn't bad because you kind of want to overextend. You know, once you've kind of settled in and you've done all the hard work. And as you can see, our whole team did very well here. So
Regeneration.
it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I can't emphasize it more that not dying in Dota, if you're a carry, is critical. You can't expect to do very well if you're constantly losing gold, because you must remember that when you die, what you can associate with death is gold loss, and with gold loss, item loss, and obviously an overall XP drain because you're not in lane. Support's not so much, because as long as they have the abilities, you can kind of expect them to participate in the fight. But they are the guys who, you know, you can either have a typical initiator support hero or just a plain support hero, who can be very effective without necessarily having a lot of farm, or, you know, having died a lot, can still be effective in a team fight. I mean, Tide Hunter's ultimate isn't going to go away when he dies. He has it. As long as he has a decent mana pool, he's got his ultimate. So, yeah, he went for a refresher orb purely because I think he immediately saw the game was going kind of in a successful direction, so why not? And, yeah, he kind of, what would you call it, overkilled the situation a little bit. But that was his choice. But I would say, as an example, for someone who shouldn't be really concerned about their kill to death ratio, is Tide. As long as he's involved in the team fight, gets all his abilities off, he can potentially die and feed the carry, because the mid game and late game will be there with a fed carry. And I'm comparing that to Faceless. If you have a look at Faceless, purely because he's fed now,
Dire's top tower is under
he
attack.
will do well for the team. You know, he will give the advantage, he will give the edge. Here's a nice team fight coming up. There's a nice quick death.
Birth is a promise.
And there's the crit helping a lot.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
See, and then obviously the team doesn't have to face that many heroes, because the carry's taken most of the miles. So Sniper and I, we're kind of contending for kills here, which isn't bad. That's always a good thing to have someone else supporting you in the fight. But we seem to be doing very well.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And then the big thing I want to emphasize, last hits. I mean, it's not very high, but in comparison to everyone else in the game, it's quite a lot higher. And this is critical to the success of your hero in the game, your last hits. And denies, which I didn't really focus on, which is maybe a mistake I made.
Dire's
But you
top
need to get
tower
those
has
last hits.
fallen. Dire's top
And then you can
barracks
see
are
the
under
last hits
attack.
are reflected in the
Dire's
level.
top barracks has
That's actually an interesting
Dire's
thing to
top
say. If you look at
barracks has
the
fallen.
fact that Faceless Void, 15 kills, Sniper 12, last hits denies, I'm far superior, and that's why my level is so much higher. That's why I'm such a higher level. Level 23 to Sniper's level 17. So that's pretty critical. Yeah, I think they try and go on me, and they kill me.
Dire's middle
Which was
tower
just
is
really
under
bad
attack.
positioning on my part.
Dire's middle tower
Me
has
getting
fallen.
over aggressive.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So yeah, and that's pretty much GG, guys.
Dire's agent
If
is
there are
under
any
attack.
questions about Faceless Void specifically, I tried to cover as much about him in this review of the game. Please
Radiant
don't hesitate to drop a few questions below the vid, and I'll do my best to either answer those questions in the next guide that I release, or the next kind of hero cover that I release. I'll just touch on stuff that I didn't really cover in this video. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it's what you were looking for. Just keep me posted.